He thought she was an escort, but she was just helping her aunt clean rooms. Before we begin, let us know where you're watching from. Drop a comment below and enjoy the story. My name is Lily, and most days, I'm just a regular 20-something trying to figure things out. I work part-time at a little bookstore, which I love, and I'm saving up to maybe go back to school. My Aunt Carol, though, she's got a tougher gig. She owns a small, slightly rundown motel just off the highway, the Sleepy Pine Motel. It's not fancy, but it's clean, and it's hers. She inherited it from my grandpa, and she pours her heart and soul into keeping it afloat. Lately, she'd been having a hard time. Her usual cleaning lady, Maria, had to go back to Mexico for a family emergency, and Aunt Carol, well, her back isn't what it used to be. So I've been spending my afternoons off helping her out. Stripping beds, scrubbing toilets, vacuuming those surprisingly stubborn little bits out of the carpet. It wasn't glamorous, but it was for Aunt Carol, and I love her. Plus, she'd slip me a little cash, which always helped. This particular Tuesday, it was hot. One of those sticky, late summer days where the air feels heavy. I had 3 rooms left to do. I was in room 7, the one with the leaky faucet Aunt Carol kept meaning to fix. I had my hair tied up in a messy bun, probably with bits of dust in it. I was wearing old shorts and a faded t-shirt that had seen better days. I remember humming along to some song stuck in my head, focused on getting the streaks off the bathroom mirror. I just finished the bathroom and was starting on the beds when I heard a knock. Not a loud, demanding knock, but a sort of hesitant tap, tap, tap. I figured it was Aunt Carol, maybe bringing me a cold drink. Come in. I called out, my voice a little muffled as I wrestled with a fitted sheet. The door creaked open, and a man stepped inside. He wasn't what I expected. He was maybe in his late 30s, dressed decently, clean jeans, a collared shirt. Nothing flashy, but not scruffy either. He looked a bit nervous. His eyes kind of darted around the room before they landed on me. Double quotes. Oh, hi, I said, straightening up. Can I help you? Are you checking in? Sometimes guests arrived a bit early. He shifted his weight from one foot to the other. No, not exactly. I mean, I have a room. Room 12. Oh, okay, I said, smiling politely. Is there something wrong with your room? Need more towels or something? He licked his lips. No, the room's fine. It's, I was told someone might be available. He looked me up and down, a strange expression on his face. It wasn't leering, not exactly, but it made my skin crawl a little. I frowned, confused. Available for what? I'm just cleaning. My aunt owns the place. He gave a small, awkward laugh. Right. Cleaning, good one. He took a step closer, and I instinctively took a step back, bumping into the edge of the bed. So, how does this work? What are your rates? The word rates hung in the air. It took a second for it to click. My mind raced. Rates available. And then it hit me like a punch to the gut. He thought I was. My face burned. I felt the blood drain from it, then rush back, hot and furious. Rates for what? I managed to choke out, my voice trembling a little. You know, he said, still with that weird, almost conspiratorial look. For company, a little relaxation. He winked. A slow, deliberate wink that made me feel sick. I just stared at him, speechless. My brain couldn't quite process the insult. Me, an escort, here in my old t-shirt, smelling faintly of bleach and sweat, just trying to help my aunt. The humiliation was a physical thing, coiling in my stomach, making my hands shake. I think you've made a mistake, I said, my voice barely a whisper at first, then gaining a bit of strength. A really big mistake. He looked genuinely puzzled for a moment. Mistake, but the guy at the truck stop said. He said this place. Sometimes you can find someone. The guy at the truck stop, I repeated, my voice rising. Tears were pricking at my eyes, hot and angry. You came here looking for that, and you thought, me? I gestured to myself, to my cleaning cart, piled high with dirty linens and spray bottles. Does this look like company to you? His face started to change. The awkward confidence was fading, replaced by dawning horror. He looked from me to the cleaning cart, then back to my face, which I'm sure was now bright red and streaked with early tears. Oh my God, he breathed. Oh, no, I am so sorry. I completely misread. I just assumed. You assumed. I cried, the tears finally breaking free and running down my cheeks. You assumed because I'm a woman in a motel room, I must be for sale. Is that it? The unfairness of it, the sheer disrespect, it just broke something inside me. I wasn't just angry. I was hurt, deeply, profoundly hurt. It felt like he'd slapped me. Just then, the door opened again, and Aunt Carol bustled in, a glass of iced tea in her hand. Lily, honey, thought you might be thirsty. Oh? She stopped short, seeing the man, seeing my tear-stained face. Her smile vanished. What's going on here? The man looked like he wanted the earth to swallow him whole. He was stammering, ma'am, I made a terrible mistake, a horrible, awful mistake. I am so sorry. Aunt Carol looked from him to me, her eyes narrowing. She put the iced tea down on the little table. What kind of mistake? She asked. Her voice calm but firm. I couldn't speak. I just shook my head, fresh tears welling up. The man swallowed hard. I thought your niece. I mistook her for an escort. The words came out rushed. Ashamed. Aunt Carol's face went still. For a moment, I thought she was going to explode. Then she just looked at him, a long, hard look. My niece, she said, her voice dangerously quiet, is here helping me. Because she's a good, kind person, she's family. And you walked in here and insulted her in the worst possible way. I know, he said, wringing his hands. It was stupid. I listened to some idiot at a truck stop. I wasn't thinking. I am truly, deeply sorry. Miss, he looked at me, his eyes filled with genuine remorse now. I can't tell you how ashamed I am. I am so sorry. Please, can you forgive me? I just looked at him, still crying, still feeling that awful burn of humiliation. Forgive him. How could I? He'd made me feel dirty, cheap. He'd looked at me and seen not a person, but a commodity. And Carol stepped forward, placing a protective hand on my shoulder. I think you should leave, she said to him, her voice still low but carrying an undeniable authority. Go back to your room, and maybe think long and hard about how you see women. He nodded, his face pale. Yes, ma'am, of course. He gave me one last, miserable look. I truly am sorry, he whispered. Then he backed out of the room, closing the door softly behind him. As soon as he was gone, I just crumpled. I sat down hard on the edge of the bed and sobbed. Aunt Carol sat beside me, pulling me into a hug. She didn't say anything for a while, just held me, rocking me gently like she used to when I was a little girl, and scraped my knee. Oh, honey, she finally said, her voice thick with emotion. I'm so sorry that happened to you. That disgusting man, he thought. He just assumed. I hiccuped, wiping my nose on the back of my hand. Just because I was here. It's not. You, Lily, she said firmly, pulling back to look me in the eyes. It's him. It's his disgusting mind. You were just doing a good thing, helping your old aunt. There's not a single thing about you that could ever make someone think that. Not if they had a decent bone in their body. Her words helped, a little. But the feeling lingered, that slimy, awful feeling of being misjudged, of being reduced to something ugly. We didn't finish cleaning room 7 that day. Aunt Carol took me back to her little apartment behind the office, made me a fresh cup of tea, a strong, sweet one, and we just sat, Later that evening, there was a knock on the office door. It was him again. Aunt Carol answered. He was holding an envelope. "Mom," he said, his voice quiet and strained. "I'm checking out. I can't stay here. I wanted to apologize again to both of you. I wrote a letter. I don't expect her to read it or forgive me. But I needed to try." He handed the envelope to Aunt Carol. "And this is for the room and for the distress I caused." "It's not enough, I know." Aunt Carol took the envelope. "Thank you," she said, her voice neutral. "Drive safe." He nodded and left. Aunt Carol opened the envelope. There was money in it, more than enough for the room, and a letter. She handed it to me. "Up to you, honey." I didn't want to read it at first, but later that night, back in my own apartment, I did. It was long, rambling, and full of self-reproach. He explained, not as an excuse, but as a context, that he'd been lonely, going through a rough time, and made a stupid, impulsive decision based on bad advice. He said seeing the look on my face, the genuine shock and hurt, was like a slap in the face he deserved. He said he'd never forget it, and he'd never make such a disgusting assumption again. He apologized over and over. It didn't magically make the hurt go away. It didn't erase the shame I'd felt. But it did something. It made him seem less like a monster and more like a flawed, stupid human being who'd made a terrible error in judgment. I kept helping Aunt Carol at the motel, though for a few weeks. Every time a man I didn't know looked at me, I felt a little knot of anxiety in my stomach. I'd jump if someone knocked on the door of a room I was cleaning. The memory of that man's initial expression, that awful assumption in his eyes, it stayed with me. It's been a while since then. The raw sting has faded, but I don't think I'll ever forget it. It taught me something, I guess, about how easily people can be misjudged and how a careless assumption can wound someone so deeply. And it made me appreciate Aunt Carol even more, her quiet strength, her fierce protection. I still clean rooms for her sometimes. And every time I do, I think about that day. Not with the same burning shame, but with a kind of quiet sadness and a renewed determination to always try and see the real person, not just what I might, for one awful moment, assume them to be. Because no one deserves to feel the way I felt that hot, sticky Tuesday afternoon. No one.